So dudes, my name's Victor. Let's talk about general purpose rifle setups. So recently, my buddy Nick sent me out this fucking rifle, and he said that, hey, I can have it for a month and shoot the shit out of it and see if I really like this Night Force A-Tacker right on top. And I thought to myself, this is the time to really talk about something that I've been just trying to meld on and think about for the last few years of what I want a general purpose rifle to be, And when I say general purpose rifle, I mean a rifle that is meant for the place that I live at, and it's the rifle that I use for every single thing. I have a buddy named Dalton, one of my best friends, you know what I mean? Great NCO and great person in general. But he alluded to the fact that, the word general purpose rifle, and I mean the phrase, I'm sorry, words matter, but the phrase general purpose rifle is a very, what's the fucking word? I just talked to him like fucking 5 minutes ago. But the word general purpose and all that stuff is a very nebulous statement, because really general purpose for a lot of people is just based off of where we live at, like for me living in Arkansas, I live in a real nice suburbs area, but that area goes out to really long sight lines of farmland and really nice just fucking rural areas and stuff like that. Whereas somebody who lives in like fucking Atlanta may have a different term for general purpose. But what I really want to really say is that whenever I talk about certain setups, right? We got people who use rifles for CQB, fucking truck guns, fucking, SPRs, DMRs, all the like, and I think to myself, man, like, I really want to push people towards maybe thinking about more of that general purpose setup to then put your money and time and effort towards to make yourself a more capable shooter. Because I believe that when we think about these certain setups, and we're talking about these in the general sense, you know what I mean? When you see a fucking truck gun or backpack gun or a fucking CQB gun, you think of this, a shorty with a can with a red dot, right? When you think of a DMR and a bolt gun and SPR, this is what you think of. You get what I'm saying? Whereas when I think of a general purpose rifle, in my area, I think of something like this, something that I can use at the distances that I am comfortable with, 300, pushing to 400, 500, and looking out to 600 and beyond, right? And still being able to use this at a CQB distance. And when we talk CQB, I think of somebody who can accurately engage me within the 200 and back, you know what I mean? If a guy can accurately engage me at 100, I think that's a CQB distance that I have to deal with, right? And this rifle will allow me to use it. Let me just gather my thoughts here. I have my little notebook right there, but this rifle will be able to be used in all those different sort of situations. And the way that we put it is, I have 100%. I have all these goals right here. Can this rifle accomplish 100% of those goals, but still be used amazing for 80% of the shooting that I actually do? I can go to a range that shoots out to 830 yards, 829.99 to be exact, and use this rifle for that distance. But most of my shooting is going to be fucking 300 in, you know what I mean? And we're pushing the boundaries of like what constitutes fucking a reason to shoot a person at 300. That's murder in the law's eyes and my eyes too. You get what I'm saying? But anyways, we'll skip on the philosophies and fucking the rambling and stuff like that. Let's talk about rifle setups in general, right? For me personally, I really want you guys to push yourself to get a rifle that can do everything you need. It allows you to have more time, more money, more ammunition, and effort to put into something that can accomplish what you may designate another gun for, right? If I were to shoot this at CQB distances, I can take the time and training to put towards using this top mount versus getting another rifle out and having to limit myself based off of what a red dot can do. Can I accurately engage a target 300, 400, 500 yards with a red dot? Absolutely, depending on barrel length and ammunition. Absolutely, 100%. But right here, I can do that with this top-mounted red dot with no problem, really. You get what I'm saying? Versus, if I have something like a bolt gun or a DMR, SPR-ish style rifle, I can accurately shoot out to fucking 600, 700, 800, but the amount of ammunition and cost for buying 308, as well as the magnification to scope that I use for those style rifles, may not be as beneficial inside a house. Because, man, if you shoot 308 in a fucking house, it's pretty goddamn loud, even with the suppressor, you know what I mean? End all be all, that's really the gist that I want to get at, is that a dual rifle that will serve the purpose of everywhere you go is, I think, a lot more beneficial to spend your time on versus getting a bunch of different guns. Now, I'm not even saying that you can't fucking buy all these guns and not be happy with it. You can do whatever you want. You're an American, right? But for some of us, you know what I mean, and me in general, I'm talking about me here, having one rifle to do everything is a lot more time efficient and it makes me feel a lot better as a shooter, knowing that I can take this rifle out to anywhere I go and I'm going to be A-okay. You get what I'm saying? So let's talk about this rifle specifically in general. Again, my buddy Nick sent this bad boy out to me, and I really wanted to fucking talk about this because it's just a fucking cool rifle. This is probably one of the coolest rifles I've ever like held in my hands before. You know what I mean? I've shot a lot of different fucking guns, man. But this one right here, the way that it's set up, the purpose behind it, it is probably one of the coolest things to look at, hear about, and shoot. All right, and you know, the base rifle is the Veil Solutions Tomahawk, right? 13.7 or 9, I believe. Polonium fucking Otter Creek Polonium suppressor, mod light, fucking Night Force ATACR on top with a Leupold Delta Point Pro, right? Geisley SSA trigger, man. This is hitting all the fucking boxes when it comes to a rifle that I see for the place that I'm at, you know what I mean? And I think right here is just Nick, you did a really good job on this son of a bitch, man. I'm really glad you sent this bad boy to me. So let's talk about the two most important things when it comes to a general purpose rifle. We got the optic and we got the barrel, right? So this barrel right here is less than the 16 inches, but you know, it's pin and weld, all that sort of cool stuff, right? Whatever. But this right here, we didn't see a lot of fucking FPS loss when you saw it go from 14.5 down to a 13, right? And you know, the boys, they shoot fucking 77 AAC out of this thing, and they're able to shoot out to fucking 626, 830 yards pretty consistently, man. Now, I'm not gonna lie, track and trace through that is fucking hard, and you know, we don't know what that round is doing out at fucking 800, 600, but even then, a less lethal 5.56 223 round at that distance is still pretty lethal. You know, people will talk about, like, you got this rifle that's at 16 inches, and you know, you don't see much of an FPS loss from 16 to 14.5, right? No, not that much. Maybe like fucking 50 to 100 at the fucking very most, right? Depending on the ammunition. But you don't see a difference from 14.5 to 13.7. You know what I'm saying? You don't see much of a difference from 13.7 to 12.5. You don't see much of a difference from 12.5 to fucking 10. But then you'll see a big difference from 10.5 to 16. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're like, ugh. And that's the rabbit hole that people start to go down, is that, you know, for the places that they're at, they're going to start negating the ballistic velocity that 223 is known for. You know what I mean? 5.56 is known for, to shorten the barrel down and limit their capabilities on range. You get what I'm saying? Now, again, if that fits the general purpose mindset, absolutely. Go with a 12.5 and go with a fucking 13.7, you know what I mean? But, you know, you most likely don't need a fucking Night Force ATACR 4-16 on top of a 12.5. Unless that's what you want to do, then absolutely, man. But then you're limiting yourself on rail space, you're limiting yourself on types of gear that you can put on top, you know, and it's not, in my eyes, it's not using the Night Force to its full capability, you know, if you're limiting yourself on the range itself. Now, again, PID is a different thing, and if you want a 4-16 for PID at that distance, go for it, 100%, you know. But again, for us, you know, we found that this barrel length, 14.5, Dalton shoots a 14.5 ballistic advantage, but that 14.5, 13 area is a very good length, you know what I mean, for pushing 5.56, 223 out to that distance, as well as being really nice and wieldy around a barricade within small fucking shoot holes and within a house as well, unsuppressed, right? I'm not gonna lie, all this fucking stuff up front, doing CQB with this, you know what I mean, inside a house specifically is not very fun. You know what I mean? It's very front heavy. However, we can do it, especially with this top mounted dot right there, which then goes towards the optic itself, right? The Night Force ATACR has a really nice fucking mill reticle on there, man, and we're able to spot our impacts out the distance pretty efficiently, right? I run a Sig Tango second focal plane 1:6, and I find that that reticle, in my eyes, kind of leaves a lot to be desired based off of the type of shooting that I want to do, right? It being second focal plane, you know, I can only use 1 or 6, right? Versus this right here, I can use fucking 4, fucking 8, and that reticle can still do the job where at whatever distance is at. Right now it's at 16, you know what I mean? And I find that the mill dots are a lot easier to use versus trying to hold my reticle out in, you know, say that my impact's hitting to the right, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I gotta hold left shoulder, you know what I mean? But now I'm kind of aiming off the target to try to get a hit. And that's, again, that's a skill issue, but it's a skill issue that I would rather not have to deal with if I can just circumvent it with a nicer reticle and a nicer optic. You get what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that I can't do it. I can, you know what I mean? I can do it with a red dot. But this right here will cut out that issue and make it a lot easier for me that has spent the time behind a second focal plane optic. Shooting this right here, out to fucking 500 over in Little Rock, man, that's nice. It's nice. Very, very nice. Second, moving on to this Leupold Delta Point Pro on top, you know, this right here is really nice for not only just CQB distances. Obviously, it's really nice, you know, a little bit of a hold issue on some like specific T-box targets, but it's not that bad. It really is, you know what I mean? Like, I can get into the magic and like the weeds and all that, but dude, I can get effective ranges on fucking 5 to 10 yards, and I can shoot out to fucking 200. But for me, I found that it was really, really nice to be able to go out and with my naked eye, we'll see a target at 300, right? But then you'll lose it for a second. But having the ability to go out there and be like, where's that 300 at? Oh, there it is right there, and then move on to the optic itself. Oh, it makes it much quicker for target acquisition. Now, again, you can utilize the top of the fucking turret and stuff like that, but I find having this defined aiming point is a lot easier. And again, I can still use this as an optic for closer distances. Does that make sense? Again, I can shoot out to 200, 300 with this bad boy, and it'll be absolutely fine. But it'll be easier with the Night Force on top. So we can talk about the rest of the rifles and all the specs and stuff, but really, you'll just read that off the website itself or another video, because this isn't the purpose of the video to talk about the specs of this rifle. It's a fucking cool rifle, right? It shoots nice. It's a nice AR-15. Once you shoot one AR-15, it feels like all the others. You can only make it so nice to the point where it's just like we're putting too much money into this to make it just a 22 rifle. You know what I mean? It's just a 22. But what was I getting at? Basically, this would be the general purpose rifle for the area that I'm at. Again, short areas, you know what I mean, to long sight lines in a matter of just driving down the road or walking out my house, you know, versus, again, somebody who lives in fucking a city-ish area, you know what I mean, they may need a shorter rifle that they want to carry with them all the time. Or, you know, you have to deal with closer spaces because you live in an apartment and stuff like that. And again, we can think about general purpose rifles for, you know, certain law enforcement, you know what I mean? You know, a city guy may only need a red dot with a magnifier to engage the suspects that he's working with, right? Whereas a county cop who's out there in the country all the time may need an LPVO or an MPVO, you know, to identify targets at that distance, you know what I mean? Big difference between looking from house to house versus barn to barn, you know what I mean? Or fucking highway to the other side of the highway, you know, with a bunch of cows in the way, stuff like that. So, working with this rifle working this length of barrel inside a house is kind of unwieldy, I won't lie, but it's not impossible. It's not awful. It's just not as fun as it would be with a 10.5. You get what I'm saying? With a suppressor, you know, because it's a very light, compact package right there. Versus this right here, man, I'm staying at the high ready just to fucking push out, you know, and that's okay. It's a skill issue with a rifle that I haven't trained a lot with, but this rifle just feels nice. For all the places that I've worked with it, with all the places that I've shot with it, this right here is a good quality rifle that I think would be really beneficial for the location I'm at. And all in all, what I really want to harp with you guys is that instead, if you're working on a budget, or if you are thinking of another rifle setup, let's talk about this general purpose thing and where you live at. Having a weapon system that is capable for all the missions that you see yourself in is, in my eyes, a lot better than having a specialized weapon system for each and every situation. Because again, it's easier to just go ahead and pick this rifle up and go to do what you got to do versus being like, is this a 10-5 day or is this a fucking 16-inch day? What am I feeling today? Do you get what I'm saying? It's the same thing when we're talking about like kit, because this is a kit, this is equipment, right? You know, I always harp on being able to scale upwards or downwards based off of the mission, right? Same thing with this rifle setup. I can go from having to look from one target all the way out to fucking 600, all the way to 125 and 15 in, you know. It's all in one capable package here. So yeah, that's the rifle setup, and that's really my gist that I wanted to talk about, man. If you have any, like, you know, comments or any questions about the setup, you just put them in the comments, dude. I love hearing about people's reasoning behind rifle setups. And again, this right here is not the general purpose rifle. It is a general purpose rifle for where I live at, where Nick lives at, you know what I mean? Versus somebody else, again, with a specific job, with a specific area, you know, they may have something different. So if you do, talk about it, man. Like, see if it really does fit your niche, man. Because again, you know, if I have to pull this rifle out, dude, it's going to be a very bad day. And I want to be able to be capable at all the distances that I feel comfortable shooting at. You get what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to talk about, man. I hope you have a good day, have fun, and be safe. What a sick rifle, dude.